Good afternoon. Welcome to Interesting Talks with Footprints. Hopefully your glass is half full rather than half empty. And as we know, we can always top it back up again, no matter where we are in life. Lovely day today. It's June, first week in June. Today's talk is going to be on emotional manipulation. Now, last talk we looked at emotions and how they affect us, and how we can be burying our emotions and not paying attention to them. This week we're going to be looking at our emotions and how other people, third-party people, can manipulate our emotions. Now, this is quite a complex subject, and there's no doubt we've all had our emotions manipulated by aunts, parents, friends, even society in general, to conform to what others want. Now, the key thing in this talk is to be able to help us identify our emotions when they're being manipulated, what we can do about it, and how the whole thing works. In fact, today was the first day I did some research and I discovered what gaslighting is. I mean, the actual reason for the name gaslighting. And apparently it goes back to a movie that was filmed, I don't know, let's say in the 1940s, when it was about when they actually had gaslights to turn down the amount of light that was in any particular room. And what it was apparently about a man who was murdering his wife or poisoning her, and he used to turn down the gaslight so she couldn't see what was happening. So he was gaslighting her. That is where the term comes from. Do your research, see what comes up when you look for that word gaslighting. Now it's an absolutely really popular word and everybody uses it, but it goes back to those times of then, as I say, probably 1940s, and it was a movie about gaslighting a man poisoning his wife. Now, what happens with manipulation of our emotions by third parties, could be family, your partner, friends, is they're trying to get you to do things that they want you to do by emotional blackmail. Someone knowing your weakness and exploiting it for personal gain. I don't know. Somebody knows that you're no longer able to pay your bills, that your income is no longer able to support your bills, and they might exploit that by saying to you things such as, I'll lend you money, but you've got to pay me back. Also tell your wife or your partner or one of your sister that you're in debt to me, and they can emotionally blackmail you knowing your weakness, as in that you're no longer earning enough money, or your job's been cut back, or your hours have been cut back, stuff like that. People do that, and they try to manipulate us by doing that. Also, convincing a person to give up important people or things in their lives, and this can be in a relationship or even a personal relationship or a friendship relationship, and that can create a codependency. So the person needs you, and they want you to sacrifice things in your life so that you can be more dependent on them, and that can form a codependency which people often fall into or can be drawn into if they're not aware of the red flags. Withholding the truth is another one. Lying and blaming you without taking responsibility for their actions. This happens a lot also in life, whereby people will blame you for things you're not even aware of, and they will put the argument such a way that you feel responsible for their well-being, and that you feel responsible for what's gone wrong in their lives, and they blame you. And you, of course, if you're not aware of it, you're likely to fall for it and sucker up and do whatever they ask you to do to help for their well-being. Now remember, you're not actually responsible for other people's happiness, you're not actually responsible for other people's well-being, and you're certainly not necessarily always there to problem solve for whatever situations they're going through. Some people will put that on you and make you feel absolutely responsible for that, but in most cases you're not responsible for that. Making vague accusations, like they're not specific on what they say. They'll just make an accusation like, that didn't happen. Why didn't that happen? What was the problem? And you don't even know exactly what they're talking about, yet you feel uneasy and discontented. Again, another red flags, emotional manipulation is probably taking place there. person is constantly judging and ridiculing you, or putting you in negative situations, in private situations and in personal situations, and making you feel insecure. This happens, again, check it out and see, are they doing this on purpose? Are they a manipulator? And one thing to test out, to find out if this is really going on with this particular person, do you feel this way around other people? That's a good question to ask. Do you feel this way around other people? If it's one specific person, when you have a conversation with them, you feel uneasy. While you're with them, when you move away from them. Do you lose confidence in what you're saying, even when you're talking to them? Are you able to set boundaries and enforce them around this person? Or do they override what you're saying and again try to make you feel guilty for even having boundaries, and worse, trying to enforce them? So if this happens around one specific person, then there's a good chance that these red flags are showing to you that this person is emotionally blackmailing you, trying to get you to do things with triggers that they know that are available to them to use against you to get their will, to get what they want out of life. Now, a caveat for this is to look at, is it you? You know, have you got unresolved emotional issues that you've not taken care of? Have you got traumas that you've not taken care of that make you over-identify with somebody trying to manipulate you? Or have you got issues that are unresolved from your childhood, that you grew up in a family where you was manipulated a lot, and of course now when you've come out of that, you're looking at situations and feeling that you're being manipulated again when you're not. So these are things also to look at, to consider whilst looking at this subject. It's a very, very, very big subject, and there's lots and lots and lots and lots of turns on it that you could look at and think about to check out whether you are being manipulated emotionally or you're not. But if you are, then it's very best bet that you start enforcing your boundaries with people that are trying to manipulate you. Tell them what and what you can't accept. And if they're really, 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 really not useful to you, they're no longer serving your purposes in the relationship that you're in, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a family member, or whether it's a personal relationship, it's obviously time for you to look at opportunities to move on or to limit their accessibility to you, and basically, you know, just stop seeing them in whatever way you can, because you've got to protect yourself. Now, if you feel responsible for other people's safety and their needs, and this is a friend or relationship, even a personal relationship, you don't have to fulfill that. Other people are responsible for their own safety. If it's your child, it's your child. You're responsible for your children. But you're not responsible for any other grown adult. They are responsible for themselves. Sure, you're there to support them. They're there to support you. It's supposed to be a mutual arrangement, not a one-way system where you support and you don't get support back, or you talk and you don't feel heard. It needs to be a two-way street, you know, 50-50 most of the time. And if it's 60-40, 70-30, yes, this can be acceptable, but for only a period of time. It can't always be that way, that you're always giving and the other person's always receiving. They say jump and you say how high. Emotionally, that's not good for you, long term or short term. And it's not a conducive relationship to work on, to keep going forward with. So if you feel like that, then it's obviously time for you to have a look at your relationship with the people that you're involved with and reevaluate it. Now, if you've come across any of these situations and you actually don't know what to do, then contact somebody like myself and work through step-by-step processes of looking at the situation, analysing the situation, and finding out what ways you could take steps to move on from the situation that you're in that's holding you back. There are ways. Remember, you've only got one life, and it's important that you live your best life every day you can while you've got the opportunity to. So if you like this talk, do leave comments. Tell me how you feel that this talk came across. If you felt any triggers of any of the words that I've said refer to something that you are going through at the present time. If you'd like to see me, obviously there's an opportunity to book appointments with me. I do have some of that openings at the moment. But do leave your comments. I'm more interested in your comments, to be fair, and how you've dealt with emotional blackmail or how you've been manipulated in the past and what ways you've stopped it. Other people will learn from your comments. So in two weeks' time, do take care of yourself. Do try to stay positive. If you're not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe, because we're trying to make a push to get to up to 5,000 and above subscribers. But if you can share with other people these videos, be very, very useful also. But until 2 weeks' time, do take care of yourself. Bye for now.